put it up in my office, thinking I just wanted the calendar in my office, and I've been missing appointments because it's for next year. But at least I've got the calendar up in my office, and she's tremendous. So she's back, but she's been there both times, and so I can say her, but I can't say her.
Do you have favorite challenges coming up this season that you can mention?
I love the Nerd Anthem. I love the horror. Both of the horror challenges are terrific, especially the Nerd Off horror challenge I really love.
So what's involved with that particular challenge? What do you love about it?
It was very different. I mean, basically, actually, the horror challenge begins with me. I tend to dress. I mean, I dress up, and although I may be naked in this season, I may actually be. I'll tell you that.
That's the guest star.
Now that's news. You're gonna get to see
This is your headline. It will either make people fly away in droves or just watch out of morbid curiosity. There is a possibility that I appear totally naked in the show this season. I won't say any more than that. No matter how much you beg me.
What will determine that?
What will determine it is whether you watch it or not. But that's all I'm going to say. But I dress up as Sherlock Holmes at one point as well. Not a very good Sherlock Holmes, but it passes.
Now, with all the challenges, have you become a fan of something as a result of people's interests and stuff? Have you went out and bought something, or now collect something, or
some things? Like there have been some shows. It's not so much the challenges; it's listening to them talk.
Right.
Because we film them constantly, and sometimes I'll just go and sit in the production office in the monitor room, where we've got all of them on different cameras. And I will just listen to them talk. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever had the experience if you have a cat or cats, and they're in a room and they don't know you're there, and you're watching them, they act differently than if you're in the room. If you watch them, they move differently, they look at each other, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nerds are kind of like cats. If they forget they're being watched, they talk about really cool stuff. And you never understand it. None of it makes sense. But I find it intriguing, and sometimes they'll talk about a television series, for example, that they're obsessed with, that I'd never seen. So I go out and I buy that series because they interest me. They really interest me. It's I think it's one of my favorite things about the whole series has been I'm just interested in them. I kind of adore them. I really do.
Did you find casting, because you had such a short period of time, did you find casting to be particularly difficult? Or did more people
It's always harder, but in a way, it wasn't that it was shorter. It was that now it's been on for 2 seasons, so people know, and they come in sort of figuring it out, or thinking they figured it out. And that happens also in the strategy throughout, where we record them and they're talking and they're saying, well, I don't want to get into a situation like Virgil got into in season 1, or
They have something to compare it to.
And that's what they're doing. They're thinking about what came before. Well, he was dressed as Sherlock Holmes. That must mean that the Nerd Off is going to have something to do. They try to figure out.
They're being nerds. They're figuring it out. They're doing a project.
And I have to say, from a strictly strategic point of view, this series, these nerds, were the best of all 3 seasons. As far as, even if they were wrong, they were thinking in such a complex way about what was coming up.
Yeah.
Even if they were wrong, they were still thinking.
Even if they were wrong, they were right.
Basically, yeah.
Because they were entertaining.
Yeah.
If you had to judge yourself like on a scale of 1 to 10 in nerddom,
1.
You're only a 1, really?
Well,
you've done a lot of stuff, though.
I'm a book nerd. And to some extent, I'm sort of a music nerd.
Yeah, but you've done a lot of animated stuff.
Does that mean you have a lot of stuff?
But I'm not
Does it mean you have a lot of stuff when you call yourself a book nerd? Or
I have a lot of books. I collect books. and Sherlock Holmes is one of my big.
That's who you. That's.
Sherlock Holmes.
You love the new movies? You like both of them?
Yeah, I love everything. I mean, I enjoy watching everything. It's not my Sherlock Holmes. You know, it doesn't matter. My Sherlock Holmes is in the books.
That's what I'm saying. So you like the books more than the TV shows?
Yeah,
or the
because
movies.
the books have been with me since I was really young.
Okay.
So that's my first Sherlock Holmes. The Sherlock Holmes is in my head. But when I see Benedict Cumberbatch, when I see Robert Downey Jr., you know, all these people doing these strange takes on it, I really enjoy it because, in a way, because it's so far from my
comfort zone, or from the way you see it,
the way I see it.
Yeah,
I love the way that they do those things. They're just really fun.
Do you see yourself as like a sociologist as well as a host and a
I wish I did.
Because you're here, you have to analyze and understand.
If that's what sociologists
or a
do,
psychologist, one of you know, in a way, you're sort of. Like,
no, I know what you mean, and I don't think of myself that way. But it's an interesting. An anthropologist is closer. That is truly what happens when you do watch them after a period of weeks, and you know, because within a matter of 5 days, they forget they're being filmed. I swear to God, they've got 6 men in the house with them at all times, in every room with these cameras. They don't see them after a while, and they never interact. The cameramen never interact with them. So after a while, they become on a whole other level. They start letting things slip.
They bring their defenses down and just act
completely.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, but we're gonna.
All right, let me just get one quick shot of you looking at me.
Are we gonna be
You're gonna sit, yeah, we're gonna rotate.
Cool.
I gotta wave?
Wait,